weather is shaping up today. Lots to talk about as well on that front. Over to you, Nate.
It certainly is, and front is the right word, Michael. We're blaming one of those for all the heat that's moving into the southeast of the country. It's moving through the Bight. That's the same system that brought the incredible heat to South Australia yesterday. Meanwhile, in the north of the country, got our eyes on the monsoon trough because there are two systems. One tropical low just in the Gulf of Carpentaria. It's starting to intensify, likely becoming a cyclone in the next 24 to 48 hours. And then Tropical Cyclone Riley. Now, a Category 2 system off the northwest, and it's expected to get to Category 3 shortly. It should stay offshore though. Meanwhile, all that heat moving to the southeast is increasing the fire danger. We've got extreme conditions right across the north of Victoria and severe fire danger extending further south from there through into Tasmania. Total fire bans on right across both states and up into the Riverina in New South Wales. Now up in Queensland, we've got some heavy rain from that developing tropical low with warnings in place, including a flood watch right across Cape York Peninsula catchments. And we'll see storms extending right through the north as well. Some showers for the east coast of Queensland and some storms through the southern inland thanks to that heat and unstable atmosphere. For Brisbane, a possible shower. In fact, there have been a couple around already this morning. 32 degrees is the top. We've got New South Wales staying dry, apart from some storms for the northeast and the northwest. Plenty of heat as well for western parts and the south of the state. Sydney, 29 degrees, while Canberra, 39, hot and sunny for you. In Victoria, it is going to be a scorcher. We've got a cool change, though, that's coming through the south. It's doing two things, one good, one bad. It's going to bring some relief, but it's going to bring some very gusty winds. So while Melbourne will see temperatures crashing 15 degrees in as little as 20 minutes, for firefighters it's going to be particularly challenging. Melbourne, a hot day. It's windy as well. That afternoon cool change expected about mid-afternoon. A possible thundery shower as well to go with it. 44 degrees before the change comes through. In Tasmania, it's hot as well. We've got isolated storms starting in the west and the south. They're spreading across the state later on. No rainfall out of it though, all dry storms. Hobart, you may see one of those. It's very hot and windy for you as well, 37 degrees. Over in South Australia, a very welcome cool change has moved through. It's left some showers and thunderstorms in its wake. Still plenty of heat in the north though, particularly the northeast, but it's cool in the south. Adelaide, 31 degrees. And in Western Australia, the heat is starting to return as well. Some showers for the south coast, storms extending from the interior into the eastern parts of the Eucla. Perth, it's sunny, you're getting to 27. And further north, it's going to be wet and stormy near Category 2 Tropical Cyclone Riley, and the monsoon trough is extending back towards the top end. Lots of rain associated with that there. Storms for the rest of the territory as well. Darwin's getting a shower too, maybe a storm, 32 degrees. Now, after all of that, tomorrow the heat will retreat further inland, which is good news. It's still hot though if you're in Canberra, a top of 40 degrees there with a couple of storms on the forecast.
Thank you, Nate. And staying with the story now, there has been little respite overnight from the oppressive heat, with residents in southeast Australia sweating through the night after yesterday's record-breaking temperatures.
For many, the worst isn't over. Reporter Stephanie Ferrier is in Melbourne. Tom Fedorovich joins us from Adelaide. Stephanie, what's the latest for Victoria?
Yes, well, down here at St Kilda, it just seems like it's getting hotter and more blustery by the second. I feel as if I'm about to get whisked up and hopefully land over in the drink over there where it's a little bit cooler. But even though it's not even 9 o'clock yet, it's already 35 degrees, and we're expecting to get up to a top of 44 today. That's the hottest day since Black Saturday 10 years ago. And I've seen some pretty hardcore people that are still running and jogging, as you can see, on this weather. Crazy enough to do that, but let me tell you, probably the best place to be is in the water. There's just a few people that are taking advantage of the nice sea and getting in there and trying to cool off while they can. In fact, just earlier I spoke to one of those swimmers who'd just come up after a pretty horrible night. This is what he had to say.
Oh man, it's like so rough. It was so hot and sweaty, and I don't have an air conditioner. We're in like this share house, and so it was horrible. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty tired. I'm probably going to go back to bed and try and get a bit more sleep, I think.
Hey, it doesn't seem...
Well, it was definitely... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Steph.
I was just going to say it was certainly very hot overnight. When I woke up early this morning and went outside, it almost felt as if it was a hot day. already, and in fact we didn't quite get to those all-time records of the lows, but it only got down to about 30.9 in Essendon in Melbourne's north, so really hot, really blustery, as you can see, and that means that we are heading for a total fire ban across all of Victoria with extreme fire danger ratings in the Mallee and northwest central districts. So we're looking at some very, very serious conditions ahead.
Steph, I appreciate you getting out there and amongst it for us. In Adelaide, Tom Fedorovich has a jacket on. And that's a good sign because they had some really, really hot weather yesterday. Tom, what's going on today?
Lisa, it is so much cooler and nicer in the city this morning. It was still about 44 degrees at 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. The cool change came in at around midnight, eventually got down to around 23. At the moment, it's about 26, and you're seeing some of the commuters go past this morning, a lot more jeans, a lot more jackets. People are enjoying this cool relief, but those records yesterday were extraordinary. It got to 46.6 degrees in Adelaide, making it the highest temperature on record in a capital city in Australia. It was even warmer further up north. It was 49.5 in Port Augusta, and that rounded up to 50 degrees on the weather map on the ABC News last night. So this unprecedented heat has finally started to ease off, but with the heat came a few challenges like the electricity network. It was a very line ball in South Australia last night. We just had enough electricity to keep all the lights on here in the state, but we did have to switch on some of the temporary diesel generators, which is going to be a big talking point in state politics today. But some unfortunate people, particularly around the western suburbs of Adelaide, did lose their power last night. About 25,000 homes went off early in the evening, and SA Power Network says that's simply because it was so hot and so unprecedented, the conditions, that some of the electricity network just simply failed in the heat.
Tom and Steph, thanks for keeping us up to date on all of this. And staying in Victoria, the state's Emergency Management Commissioner Andrew Crisp spoke to us earlier. He says bushfires will be the biggest concern for authorities today.
Again, in terms of people's own heat health, it'll be a challenge. Again, in terms of people travelling to beaches and inland waterways, we've got to be so conscious again of 20 people that have drowned since the start of summer. So there's a number of different factors that we have to be focused on today. We've got more than 500 people stood up in incident control centres, regional control centres, and at the state here, 60 aircraft, planes and helicopters positioned across the state. So we are ready. What I keep saying is that, are you, as a community of Victoria, ready? Have you downloaded your Vic Emergency app? Do you know who the emergency broadcaster is? Because if you're travelling around and you're enjoying the last of the holidays, you need to be able to access good information to make good decisions. Do you have that plan in terms of your own property and when you might leave that property on a day such as this?
Andrew Crisp on the show a bit earlier. A new web series featuring Australia's first mainstream